Greetings, lead listeners from Boksburg on Gauteng's East Rand. More on that later. Today we get an update, though, from senior investigative journalist Sikonathi Mantshantsha on the murder of City of Ekurhuleni financial auditor Mpho Mafole, and how clear evidence now suggests Mayor Nkosindiphile Xhakaza has publicly tried to draw links between Mafole's murder and other city matters, but not the lucrative chemical toilets tender that this auditor and News 24 have since delved into.
He left out the one issue that we can confirm Mpho Mafole had been working on. It appears to us, at least at News 24, that Mayor Nkosindiphile Xhakaza was trying to control the investigation, trying to mislead the public and the authorities as to possible motives for the murder of Mpho Mafole.
Later, the British Empire ended slavery in the Cape of Good Hope on this day in South African history, our regular segment heard at the end of the show.
New episodes of The Lead air Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m.
My name's Graeme, this is The Lead, and this is the South African story. This episode of The Lead is brought to you by 10X Investments. 10X, your future. Hey, Tada, Sikonathi, how are you doing? Welcome to The Lead.
All good indeed. Thank you, Graeme. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Look, such an incredible investigation as always. And you've alluded to this quite a long time ago, and I was waiting for the follow-up for a really long time. I know that you're in the Gauteng East Rand district today as well. I'm also out here on some special assignment at the moment. And I hope you've been dodging the thunder and lightning in the area. It was hectic last night for this Cape Townian, brother.
And it's hectic today. It appears the whole night is going to be this rainy. So brace yourself.
Please remind our listeners first and foremost what slain Ekurhuleni auditor Mpho Mafole had found in his initial internal report regarding this 1.8 billion rand chemical toilets tender. We know he comes with an extensive background at the Auditor General's office, and Mafole had been just a couple of months into this job at the City of Ekurhuleni when he made this startling discovery. What did he stumble across?
Thank you, Graeme. Mpho Mafole had been working for 3 months to the day he was murdered for the Ekurhuleni municipality on Gauteng's East Rand. And he had, amongst other things, discovered, he had done an audit, which the municipality had requested him to do, on chemical toilets. The municipality awarded a 3-year chemical toilets to 15 companies, starting in June 2028, and requested him from Mpho Mafole to check if everything had been done according to plan by the municipality. He compiled the report and sent it to his boss in June on the 27th, and 3 days later, he was murdered. It was a scathing report. Mafole was very critical of the municipality's conduct in how it had conducted itself in approving and awarding these tenders to 15 companies while ignoring more than 200 others who had made their pitch.
Tell us now where we sit with Mafole's sole murder accused. We know that case is still ongoing at the moment. We saw headlines recently, the family sort of screaming futsak at that particular court case hearing. How far along is the matter as we speak?
Graeme, on Friday, the 5th of December, Thabani Goodwill Nchalinchali, who remains in custody as he was denied bail 2 weeks ago, will appear again for the murder of Mafole at the Kempton Park Magistrates Court. That's where we are currently on that case. He remains the sole suspect that has been arrested. The police have, of course, said there are other suspects who are still at large, but they are ready to proceed with the trial of Thabani Goodwill Nchalinchali currently. I must add that that trial has been linked to yet another trial in which this Mr. Nchalinchali was already out on bail when Mafole was murdered on the 30th of June. That was the murder of a disc jockey by the name of Mpho, who died in September 2023. For that case, Thabani Goodwill Nchalinchali handed himself over to the police as having shot and killed Mpho, which he will claim in self-defense. And this he did together with a colleague of his, another security guard, who handed themselves over. The South African Police Service's Serious and Violent Crimes Unit in Gauteng have linked trials, and Mr. Nchalinchali will be tried for both, one after the other, on the 5th of December.
Today's latest piece, obviously entitled Hunted, it's within the Hunted series that you're leading, kind of with Jeff Wicks as your partner in crime here to unearth this story, the latest of which, how Ekurhuleni Mayor tried to divert scrutiny from Mpho Mafole's murder. You contest, essentially, Sikonathi, that on at least 4 public occasions, Mayor Nkosindiphile Xhakaza had claimed that Mafole was looking at other matters within the municipality at the time that may have led ultimately to his demise. Sort of the mayor insinuates that those were these other reasons. What were the utterances made and where?
Starting that very evening when Mpho Mafole was killed in Kempton Park on the 30th of June, the mayor, Nkosindiphile Xhakaza, sprang to action and granted interviews left, right, and center. In those interviews, he listed at least 2 or 3 things. He said, 1, Mpho Mafole had been investigating a rates clearance matter that cost the city of Ekurhuleni more than 2 billion rand, where some of the municipality's officials clearly interfered and erased rates owed by some customers, about 2,000 customers. And so there was a person that was suspended by the municipality for that. Xhakaza said that was one of the possible reasons Mr. Mafole was killed. Xhakaza also said Mpho Mafole had been investigating the refurbishment, a long-running and very expensive and over-budget refurbishment of the Same building in Germiston. He sprang to action and even said, he specifically said, including at the funeral of Mpho Mafole in front of his whole family, and at the first court appearance of Mr. Nchalinchali, and critically within earshot of the investigating officer. He said that was the reason Mr. Mafole was killed. He listed all these things, except he left out the one issue that we can confirm Mpho Mafole had been working on. It appears to us, at least at News 24, that Mayor Nkosindiphile Xhakaza was trying to control the investigation, trying to mislead the public and the authorities as to possible motives for the murder of Mpho Mafole.
You haven't really sort of said this in your piece at all, but I thought I'd ask you while we have the opportunity. The Sami building refurbishment and the irregular rates clearance, the 2 separate matters, how far along do we know at this stage both of those matters are, just as an aside?
The investigation by the municipality into the rates clearance, which has cost them 2.2 billion rands in revenue, is ongoing. The Chief Information Officer of the municipality, Mr. Munyepau, I'll get you his first name, remains on suspension, and the municipality said his disciplinary process is underway. So there isn't much that we do know there about that investigation, except that he remains on suspension.
Sikonathi, what I love about your reports most of the time, and I'm putting this caveat in here, is that you show us the evidence. You say, yeah, you can make up your own mind, what any good journalist should do, but you don't cast any sort of unnecessary aspersions. You do try and piece together the puzzle as best that you can, but if there's no evidence to suggest that C could be true when A and B exist, you don't always make that speculatory sort of, you don't reach your arm out too much. And I love that about you. You stick to the facts like we all should be doing. But what do you believe the mayor's sort of end goal has been in sort of trying to deflect to a certain extent?
The mayor has mentioned everything that Mpho Mafole could have possibly working on. And in this story today, we actually show that the mayor knew that these investigations were completed way before Mafole, even starting at the municipality. He knew because they were all conducted following council resolution authorizing the investigations, and the council also received the reports from those third parties who had done the investigation before Mpho Mafole started. So let us be clear here, Graeme, again, just like you have pointed out. We have not at this point, or at least in this article or anywhere else for that matter, made any direct accusation or indirect accusation about the mayor's involvement or lack thereof in the crimes that have occurred and continue to occur across Ekurhuleni. What we have stated is that the mayor deliberately misled the investigation by offering at least three alternatives and avoided the one thing that he should have mentioned, that he ought to have known clearly that Mpho Mafole was working on, and that was the investigation by Mpho Mafole of the chemicals toilet tender, which at 1.8 billion rands is a massive revenue spinner for tenderpreneurs associated with local councillors who may or may not include the mayor.
Response been from the mayor's office. I see that your latest piece had to be updated after the fact to get the mayor's reaction. Were you waiting a while still to get the City of Ekurhuleni's official response and then you updated it?
Graeme, we had received this response ahead of the publication, but it had been misplaced. I kept searching for it on email, only to find it had been sent to WhatsApp. So I went back after retrieving that particular WhatsApp message. I went back to say the mayor actually did comment and denied any involvement, and certainly denied trying to mislead the public and the investigation, and certainly denied interfering in the police's work with regards to the murder of Mpho Mafole. Yes, we had received the mayor's response, but it had been lost in the various forms of communication that his office had used in reaching out to us.
But it's pithy remarks, right? It's nothing really of substantive value that brings any new bearing to the story. It's the same old sort of PR spin, right?
Absolutely. The mayor simply denied misleading investigators. The mayor simply denied that he actually disowned his own speeches, and he said he had only said that in the spirit of wanting this murder to be resolved, this crime to be resolved. And nothing really stood on it, except that we have an obligation to fairness and to the truth by actually reflecting the mayor's response, which we had sought, and indeed given his team extended deadlines, as they were not very forthcoming with the responses. But when we did receive those, whether or not in our humble view they were substantial responses, we have a duty to reflect this in the story for fairness and for the fullness of the story, and for the readers to know exactly what the real story is.
Whereas you have the receipts to show for it all. Okay, I just wanted to sort of end off with this user comment. It's something I'm incorporating a little bit more into the leads going ahead. And this one is from one of the News 24 cast of thousands, commented on your latest piece. I think it's so pertinent. Yes, you and I have spoken about it tons and tons of times. Sikonathi Mantshantsha writes the following: we constantly, quote unquote, see article after article showing us clear, irrefutable evidence of officials and cops colluding with criminals. Yet we do not see anything about the SAPS, the Hawks, or the NPA actually doing anything about these cases. We have to thank the authors of articles like these for exposing these crimes, and sadly we can only hope that one day we might have a justice system that is half as good as these journalists. I mean, it fills you with a lot of pride, but it also doesn't make for great reading, does it?
Graeme, absolutely. But the first thing, we really must thank people like Mr. de Kock and the other subscribers of News 24 who actually pay for the journalism we do through the funding of their subscriptions. Without the subscribers and the readers of News 24, the public would definitely be in the dark, and our democracy would be poorer for it. We have, of course, in the past always seen in South Africa the media leading investigations and certainly forcing the hand of the law enforcement agencies, the police and the prosecutors, by making it impossible for anyone to claim they did not know. We place the evidence that most of the times is the disposal of the police. We place it before the public, and our hope is that in the end, this forces the authorities to do what they should have done in the first place. So thank you to the subscribers of News 24. Thank you, Mr. De Kock, but we certainly are not discouraged. It is our job to definitely put these matters before the public and to force the authorities to act.
Yeah, it's like I was listening on the radio today, just as a side note, and I heard the Hawk spokesperson giving an update on all these South Africans who allegedly go over to Russia to fight in the Russia versus Ukraine war. And I was sitting there the whole time thinking, oh, they've launched an investigation into this and they are gutted in terms of investigators. They just don't have the capacity. Now they want to investigate something that feels like 1,000 miles away. I don't know. It's beggars belief. Okay, let's end here. Mafole's audit report, Sikonathi. Has anything been actioned of that as we stand at the moment?
Graeme, we will give you a few more installments in the coming weeks and months, other than the criminal trial going on at the Kempton Park Magistrates Court, based on the arrest of Goodwill Thabani Nchalinchali. There is nothing else at the municipality that has happened. We know that the chief auditor, Mpho Mafole's boss, Philip Rakwale, who is president of the South African Institute of Government Auditors, cleared himself, so to speak, of these irregularities in which he amended and changed, whitewashed Mpho Mafole's report. He got SAIGA to do an internal so-called investigation and cleared themselves, and the municipality celebrated with a huge, I think it was a 4-page statement, congratulating themselves and patting themselves on the back because Philip Rakwale had been cleared, allegedly. Of course, only they believe there was such an investigation. I must tell you and the listeners and the readers definitely that there is a whole lot more to it that's coming. We will keep our eyes on it. We've got our finger on the pulse on this one.
And that's, of course, Sikonathi Mantshantsha, our senior investigative journalist with the award-winning News 24 investigations team. We saw you won another award. This time it's Kudu's Horns with Sandparks. What happened there, Sikonathi?
It's a beautiful trophy from Sandparks, which I won for my reports into the Mogale local municipality, which was dumping untreated sewage into the rivers, spoiling the environment, spoiling wildlife. And I entered the competition, and other journalists did. I was fortunate enough for the judges at Sandparks to actually choose me and award this.
Amazing.
Yes.
Do you know, fun fact, the kudu can jump quite high. Did you know that? Okay.
Very high, indeed. Very high. So we've been fortunate again, Graeme. I can't repeat this enough. Thanks to the funding, News 24 is amongst the best funded media organizations in South Africa. Not because Media 24 itself has the money, but precisely because people like Wynand de Kock, subscribers and readers, make sure that we are able to do what we must do for our bit to shine the light in those dark corners in the public interest and in defense of democracy.
Danko Sikonathi, the thunder and lightning still running on here in the background. I'm out here on special assignment. I'm missing all you guys, but I'll be in the Randburg studios from Wednesday. We'll chat a little bit more. Danko.
Thank you, sir.
At At 10X Investments, we don't only help you invest for retirement, we help you craft a legacy. With thoughtful planning and meticulous execution, you can create the retirement future you've always wanted. Invest with us today. 10X your future. 10X is a licensed FSB.
And finally,
ending off now with On This Day in South African History, the 1st of December 1834, courtesy of South African History Online. A very important date to boot. Today we look back at the day slavery officially came to an end in the Cape Colony. Britain had abolished slavery across its empire a few months earlier, but the Cape's implementation was delayed somewhat until this date. Even then, freedom came with conditions. Former slaves were forced into a 4-year apprenticeship system that kept them working for their former owners in the name of so-called transition. Slave owners were offered compensation, but they had to sail to Britain to claim it, and the amounts barely covered the cost of the trip. The fallout was quite profound. Many frontier farmers saw emancipation as an economic and political betrayal and cited it loudly as one of the sparks that pushed them towards the Great Trek just a year later. But historians remind us it was only one factor among many. Still, 1 December 1834 stands as a turning point in the Cape's colonial story and in the long, painful history of slavery in this very country. That's our Monday edition of The Lead. You can get in touch with us by WhatsApping us on our WhatsApp voice note line. That's 072-562-3179. You can mail us more of your tip-offs at thelead@24.com and hit like, follow and subscribe. That way you'll be notified of our upcoming editions. As for me, I hope I don't get woken up by the thunder and lightning tonight. My name's Graeme, and so long as there's trusted news first, we'll always have The Lead. This episode of The Lead was brought to you by 10X Investments. 10X your future.